Courage does not always shout. Sometimes it swings the hammer again and again for years. Today we go to a small village in Bihar to a man with no money, no power, no education, but one decision. A thin man stands against a wall of rock. Sweat runs down his back, his hands are cracked. He lifts a hammer, brings it down on the mountain. He does this alone, no machines, no team, just iron tools. He has been doing this for years. The villagers watch, some laugh, some shake their heads. They call him mad. But he keeps striking the stone. His name was Dashrath Manjhi. He was born in 1934 in Gehlour village, near Gaya district in the state of Bihar. He belonged to one of the poorest and most marginalized groups in the region. Life was hard from the start. He worked as a daily wage laborer. He herded goats. He broke stones in quarries. The land around Gehlour was rocky. A large hill stood between the village and the town of Wazirganj. Because of that hill, villagers had to walk nearly 55 kilometers to reach a hospital, a school, or a market. The mountain was not just stone, it was distance, it was isolation. He married a woman named Falguni Devi. Most accounts agree she was injured while crossing the hill to bring him food while he worked. Some reports say she slipped and fell. Others say she was hurt on the rocky path. She needed medical help, but the hospital was far, very far. She later died. The exact year is debated, but it was in the late 1950s. Her death changed him, not in words, in action. He made a choice. If the mountain stood between his village and help, he would remove it, not complain, not petition, not wait for the government. He would break it alone. In 1960, he began. He sold his goods, bought a hammer and chisel. He walked to the base of the hill and struck. Day after day, under the sun, in the rain, people mocked him. They said he had lost his mind. Some tried to stop him, but he continued. Not for fame, not for reward, for access, for a path. One moment shows this clearly. In the early years, villagers laughed openly. They called him Pagal Manjhi, Mad Manjhi. There were no supporters at first, no media, no officials visiting. For nearly a decade, he worked without recognition. He cut into solid rock using hand tools. There were days he earned nothing, days he ate little. He faced hunger, heat stroke, blisters. But he did not stop. This is not legend. This is documented by local reporters and later interviews. He worked from 1960 until 1982. 22 years. Slowly, attitude shifted. Some villagers began to see progress. A small cut in the rock grew wider. Light passed through. What once looked impossible began to look real. And that is how change often begins. With ridicule, then doubt, then quiet belief. By 1982, the path was complete. It was about 110 meters long, around 9 meters wide, and roughly 7 meters deep in places. He had carved a road through the hill. The distance between Gehlour and Wazirganj reduced from about 55 kilometers to around 15 kilometers. A direct path now existed. Children could reach school faster. Patients could reach hospitals sooner. The mountains did not disappear, but it opened. and it opened because one man refused to stop. This was his victory. Among those who later noticed him were journalists in the 1980s. Local newspapers began reporting his work. The story spread. In time, the government of Bihar acknowledged his effort. He was given land, later, a small financial aid. In 2006, he was honored by the state government. But recognition came after decades of labor, not before. He did not begin with support. Support followed proof. This became real in his final years. In 2007, he was diagnosed with gallbladder cancer. He was treated at the All India Institute of Medical Sciences in New Delhi, the same kind of hospital that had once been unreachable from his village. He died on 17 August 2007. The government of Bihar gave him a state funeral. The man once called mad was honored with respect. And the road he built still exists. What did it cost him? It cost 22 years of physical labor. It cost social acceptance. It cost steady income. He lived in poverty most of his life. He faced ridicule daily. His body carried scars from stone and iron. There was no guarantee to work, no contract, no safety net, only risk. Courage is often lonely. His was very lonely. What did it cost him to choose courage? It cost comfort. It cost belonging. It cost time he could have spent earning more money. And yet, what did it give? It gave access. It gave dignity. It gave a village a shorter path to care. We can measure the road in meters, but the real measure is this. He refused to accept that nothing could change. He refused to bow to stone. One man, one hammer, 22 years. That is not myth. That is persistence. History often celebrates kings and generals, but sometimes history is shaped by a laborer with a tool. A man who could not read, who owned little, who was told to stop, and did not. The mountain was real, so was the doubt, and so was the pain. But so was the choice. This has been stories of human courage. When the obstacle in your life feels too large, remember the sound of metal on stone. One strike can begin a revolution.